Suicide's not a joke. It's not a game. It's nothing to laugh at. It's not funny. None of that nonsense, right? So I'm making this video so I can get a point across, right? So, little story time. I work at a residential group home, all males residential group home, and I run a building. And in that building, I get all the transgender females. So I had a new intake coming in. And she was coming to my building, and one of the students was like spazzing out, like, "Oh, why do we got to get all the transgender females? Why we got to get off the Fs? They're Fs." If you don't know what Fs is, you can pretty much figure it out, right? And he was just spazzing out, right? And then once she came in, he honestly started gravitating to her, realizing like she knew his sister, that they had mutual friends outside of the facility, right? Which was, cool, like cool. They getting along. I thought there was gonna be some problems and some troubles, but they wasn't. So he ended up really falling for her. So at this residential group home, there's a school there. You know how schools get things spread around like a wildfire. So that information spread to other buildings, and at school he was getting bullied. He was getting made fun of, name calling, getting called the F word, tranny lover, and etc. Right? So he went. We had to move him to a different building because they were sleeping in the same facility, and I caught them doing some other acts that I'm not gonna say. But he got moved to a different building, and the bullying and the name calling, the insults, all that's pretty much spread over there, and it caused problems. To be honest with you, like it caused big problems for him. And his birthday was coming up. It's the day before mine, and he was turning 15, and like every time it's like one of my kids' birthdays or they're graduating from the program, I get them something, right? He wanted Talkies and a Sprite. So I was like, cool, bet. I'll get you Talkies and a Sprite. That's not a problem for his birthday. So his birthday came along, and I was looking for him, and I was like, oh, yeah, he's on a home pass right now. Like, he's visiting his sister. I was like, he's probably out and about enjoying his time on his birthday. So later on that day, one of the kids tell me that he attempted suicide, and he ended up trying to hang himself, became unconscious. Another kid seen it, pulled him down, started CPR, and called staff, and he got the help he needed, and then he got moved to a higher level of care in a different facility. And while the kids were telling me, there are other kids like snickering and laughing at the whole situation, and I'm like, that's not funny. Like, think how like hopeless, how much you're in pain, how much you think taking your life is the only option to escape that pain. And they were laughing about it, and I had obviously I had to speak up and let these kids know, because all these kids young, they naive, they're ignorant, and a lot of them are just plain stupid. Let's just keep it a buck. And I was talking to them, and I was like, think, and all of them have their own certain trauma. A lot of them theirs because of trauma, and they're in a residential group home, so a lot of them got some level of trauma. And I was thinking, think about your lowest point in life, right? And think about how you probably felt hopeless, you felt guilt, you felt depression, and think about how in that mind state, how bad you have to be to want to take your life. And a lot of that clicked for them, clicked for some of them, and others, like I said, dumb, naive kids were still laughing about it. Oh, that's what he gets. He a tranny lover. He an F word. And like, man, these kids these days, these young bulls, you know what I'm saying, young whippersnappers, they, I wish they would understand what I understand to a certain extent. I understand they're young and they naive, and I'm saying they're just not gonna get it. Like a lot of them, their brain hasn't developed that emotional intelligence as someone who's an adult has emotional intelligence. But I just want to, pretty much my message is like, suicide is not funny. It's not a game. It's nothing to laugh about. That ish is real. You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, how hopeless you gotta feel, the pain you gotta feel just to want to end your life. And like, I've had my own struggles with suicide and suicide ideations. I have friends that been successful with it, some friends that failed with it, thankfully. And like I'm saying, it truly sucks. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in the army and I've watched friends come back from being overseas and them losing their life. Like, it's honestly even tough to talk about, right? Like, it's taboo thing to talk about. Like, it shouldn't be talked about. But the most taboo situations is the conversations that we need to have, especially with each other. And this message, part of this message is for the people that deal with suicide. You know what I'm saying? Go pretty much get the help that you need. You know what I'm saying? Regardless of your beliefs on therapy and talking to someone, like, it can go such a long way. It's so relieving just to talk to someone that you don't know anything about, that's not your wife, spouse, best friend, partner, any of that, right? It's just such a relief to someone to hear you out and not so much give you advice, but guide you in the right direction of changing your mindset, of changing the way you look at things, that you look at things in a more positive manner, or you see things differently that will just change your perspective, right? There's a whole bunch of different types of therapy out there, but I go to therapy, at least once a month, and it's been a lifesaver to do so. So, like, if you have the option, and I understand like therapy can be pricey, but go to your local therapist. Some of them aren't, cost an arm and a leg. Some of them aren't that bad, but just go get the help that you need. And the other part is the people that don't deal with it. Go around today, go give someone a compliment. You know what I'm saying? That compliment can probably take you 2 seconds to say and can build someone's self-confidence up, their self-esteem up for that day, just that moment. Just tell someone like, hey, I love your nails, they look nice. Hey, you have beautiful eyes. Hey, I love what you did with your hair. Those little things can just go such a long way of just making someone feel good about themselves. You know what I'm saying? So go give someone a compliment. Suicide's not funny. And if you're having trouble, just go get help. Go get help. Shoot, hit me up. But definitely get the help that you need. I'm out. Peace.